everyone. It's Laurie Davis and Alex Mulcahy again with Real Talk. And today we wanted to do a short training just to talk to you about circle prospecting, what type of dialers are out there that will help you, because really the name of the game is to get listings, right? So, Alex, why don't you go ahead and talk to us about the different dialers and what you're doing?
All right, thank you, Laurie. So today, as she said, we're talking about, circle prospecting, dialers in general. First off, most of you probably don't know right off the bat what circle prospecting is. It is essentially where, like right here, it's called neighborhood search. This is Mojo, by the way. This is RedX. They call it geo leads. And what you're doing is you're pulling neighborhood data and, that you can, when you're on here, it's going to give you the option to basically, like if you're on the MLS and you're searching for properties, you can draw a little circle on the MLS in an area. Well, that's what you're going to do, and you're going to pull the data of the people that live in that area. It's going to pull cell phone numbers. It's going to pull landlines. It will pull emails. Don't reach out to the emails unless you have permission. That's just a compliance thing. Don't do that. You want to call them first, and if they give you your email, then you can use it. But essentially, what it does is it's going to pull all that data for you, and all you do is you call them. You just call them. It's going to tell you what their name is. It's going to tell you the address of the property. It's going to tell you some facts about the property, like when it was last sold. Most of it's fairly. I've used RedX and I've used Mojo. I've never used Vulcan 7. Vulcan 7 is the more expensive of the three, but I hear it's phenomenal. These two are what I'd recommend for somebody just getting into real estate, doesn't have the biggest budget to divert to this yet. And they're both good. They give you good quality of leads, or numbers, and the data is going to be fairly accurate. And what you do is you're going to have a list of 4 numbers, and all you have to do is you'll have a dialer. Single line dialer is $99 versus the storm dialer, which again is I believe $99. $99 a month.
And doesn't RedX run a special every once in a while for like $49? I've seen that a couple times.
They do, as well as you can look up certain people that talk about these. They can get you some affiliate links.
Okay.
But they do run specials as well. And like I said, what you're doing is you're pulling the data and you're calling these people. And you have to work on your scripts. That's going to be the number one thing when it comes to circle prospecting, is you have to be able to come off to people. You're not trying to sell them anything. All you're trying to do is simply ask them, is there anything I can do for you? You want to come off from a place of value when you're calling these people. Is there anything in the world I can do for you? That is, something that, you can find a lot of people out there are preaching. That's Ricky's big thing. And you want to let them know that, we're not asking you to sell your house right now. We're letting you know, basically, if there's anything I can do for you, if you want to know the value of your home, if you want to refinance, I can get you a lender. If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. And when you start to be able to come off from a place of value and people pick up on that right away, they're not going to be, you're going to have some calls that are going to be rough. You're going to have some calls you're going to, laugh about, and they're just going to be bad. But you're going to have a lot. People build their business off of this. People are successful and do nothing else but cold call, do circle prospecting, because they're good at it, and it works for them because it does work. But you have to spend the time. It's a skill like any other. It requires training, and this could be the pillar of your business. Why not spend a little bit of time learning how to effectively communicate with people?
Well, and on top of that, Alex, when you're calling people, one thing that you're doing is you're putting in their heads your brand.
Yes,
right? This
exactly.
is Alex Mulcahy with eXp Realty. Or if you have a brand of your own with eXp Realty, every time you're calling somebody, they're hearing your brand.
Yes.
And so it's not a worthless call, even if somebody is kind of like, oh, jerk, why are you calling me? I didn't give you permission. But down the road, they're going to remember that you called because they did have, they were irritated. So even then, they could end up looking you up on Google, and finding you later.
Well, and just to something you said there, okay, be completely honest with everybody listening, watching. I am a worrier. It is my natural state when it comes to things like that. So what was the thing that got in my head? Everybody has the fear of cold calling. It is what it is. You just have to push past it. My first thing that popped in my head is, what if it's a bad call? What if it's a bad call? They go on Google and they give me a bad review. They go on my Facebook and give me a bad review. I've got over 10,000 dials in, easy. I'd say probably closer to 20. And I've never had anybody do anything other. I mean, I've had some people get nasty with me, but I've never had anybody go on my Facebook and give me a bad review. No one cares that much, you know. There are some petty people out there, and they're going to take it out on you while you're on the call, and you just listen, grit, bare your teeth, or hang up your call.
Yep.
Uh, but you know, I'm always that person after they're done. I'm like, okay, well, is there anything I could do for you? You know, uh, see if we can still try to, you know, turn the conversation around. Never give up. But, you know, don't let your fear of what could happen stop you from, you know, the wonder of what could happen if I spend all this time, you know, learning how to make these calls. If I, you know, get good at, you know, the communication side of it, and people start responding to me better, and I actually can turn these people make you know, I'm on some groups for this, and you see people posting like, oh, I made 10 calls and I've already got a listing. You know, I didn't have that luck. I was well into my you know, probably 1500th call. But the other thing was I was very nervous starting right off the bat. And by the way, 1500 calls, if you're doing it by your phone, individually calling numbers, it's going to take you forever. 1500 calls doing a single line dialer, and this is only the single line. I haven't even tried the triple. You know, some people are, you know, they're real pros just flying through it. But doing the single line dialers, I was doing in an hour and a half, somewhere between, you know, 100 200 calls, depending on how long I was getting stuck on certain calls. You know, don't feel bad taking time to talk to people, by the way, either. You know, that's the name of the game. You want to learn more about these people. And just to give you, so we're basically, you know, talking about circle prospect and everything. And what I want to let you know is how it works with KV Core. What I do when I'm done talking to somebody, what I do is I bring them in. I go into KV Core. I add them as a lead. I turn them into a you know, prospect for seller, and you know, I'll save them. And then what I'll do, maybe there we go. And what I'll do is I'll go to new call. Don't call them, don't schedule. You know, I'm going to put their phone number in. If they gave me their email at the end of every conversation, your goal is to try to get their email so you can set them up on a monthly email. That is the goal for follow up. The money is in the follow up. It always is, no matter what you do. This is no different than any other real estate, you know, niche. The money is in the follow up. But what I do to make sure that I'm calling them back, because people are going to say, you know, either they're going to give you an email and you can stay in touch with them, or they're going to tell you, you're always going to ask, okay, cool, you mind if I call back in a couple months? And they're going to say, sure, you know. Well, maybe they weren't so warm then, but in a couple months they might be interested in selling. So what you do is, if they say, you know, it's a couple months, they'll say, sure. All right, how about 6 months? They'll say, okay. They say 6 months. What I'll do is I'll put any notes in there from our conversation. You know, if you know, it was a short call, they didn't give me anything, I won't really put much other than, you know, the address of the home thing, so I can keep track of it and I don't have to go look all that up again. Just specific information. But if I learned that, you know, in 6 months when I call him back, his daughter's names, I try to remember that because people love that when you can remember their kids' names. Sarah and Lily want to go to Licking Heights, you know. So now I know the area he's looking at, Licking Heights School District, and his daughters Sarah and Lily. I remember their names, and that's gonna, you know, I call him back in 3 months, because you always cut it in half. When I call him back in 3 months, he's gonna be, you know, just that much warmer when I say, hey, you know, John or Alex, you know, I know that you're looking to get Sarah and Lily over to Licking Heights School District. Is that something that's, you know, you're interested in right now? You know, you think it's the time to get them moved over? I know school's coming up here soon. Now, obviously, we're, you know, February, so we're in the middle of school, but you get my point. But what I like to do is schedule the call, because you could have it pop up on your KV Core for you. If you know about KV Core, you know that anytime you bring in a new lead, it's going to bring their phone number up for you to call them. And so on your, I'll show you here in just a second, but what I would do is, so if, say I called him today, it's the 19th, I'd go 1, 2, 3 months forward, and I'd just, you know, click on the 19th, and I'd set a call time. My calls are typically, you know, earlier in the day. We'll do 12. And then, you know, sync it with Google if you want to. I just like to have it on here, but what I do is I'd save, and I would go to, oh, it's going to pop up on my calls, you know. So you got your call list here, and it's going to pop up, and you just call them, you know. And it's really just a good way to be able to keep when you're doing this and you're getting a bunch of people added into your list, into your CRM. It's a good way to be able to keep track of that, because when I first started, I did it on a notebook, and let me tell you, it's a terrible idea. You will lose track so fast. I fill up an entire notebook, and it was basically a notebook full of useless information, because I mean, it took me so long to find anything on anyone in there. Terrible way to do it. So this is just a really nice, simple way to keep track of things with KV Core.
Now, do you use your own cell phone or do you Skype? What do you do to make those calls to connect to your dialer?
So I do use my own cell phone through. I use Mojo, by the way. That's the one I chose. But I do use my own cell phone on there. I don't have a Google number. I have not had an issue with it becoming marked as spam. I've never had an issue with that. I don't call the DNC list either, by the way, just so everybody knows. But I use Skype. What I can do is, when you pull up on Mojo, the dialer, you have the option to call, and I'll call my Skype number, and it sets me up. And so I can sit here on my computer with my headset on, which is very clear. I live out in a bit of a country area. If I was going to do this on my phone, people wouldn't understand what I'm saying. I got good Wi-Fi out here, so I got clear audio, and I have no problems with it.
Nice.
That's a great question, though. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
But that's typically that is just a little bit of the basics on the dialers out there. What circle prospecting is. Obviously, you can do. Everybody should know what expireds and FSBO are. I wouldn't personally pay for FSBO because you can get those off Zillow, but expireds is a good way to get into. That's a whole another conversation. I just wanted to cover what circle prospecting was. What are your options for the dialer, and what's just give you an idea of how to follow up with it, because the money is in the follow up, and you want to keep track of this stuff. It does get hard unless you're got a good system. Think about your system before you bother, getting any calls in, because you want to know how you're going to keep track of all this. I prefer KV Core. I showed you how I track my calls to keep making them for follow up on top of the calls I'm already doing, and I think that's a pretty great system so far. It's worked well for me, but whatever works for you.
Well, and like Alex said, you have to really make sure that you do have a follow-up system. That's what a CRM is. It's going to help
Exactly.
you with your database. And lead generation is a huge part of your business. So whether you're going to be doing a generation of leads on Facebook or Google, if that's your kind of personality, you don't want to make these cold calls, you don't want to circle prospect, maybe grow a team and get a few independent sales agents on your team that will make these phone calls for you. Okay,
Yes.
so but you do need to know these systems exist because this is part of building your pipeline, and going after listings is a big deal. There's a lot of agents that do not buy any type of ads, and all they do is call, and they do it every
Yeah.
day, 7 days a week, 2 hours a day.
And
It
they make
does
money.
work. They do make a lot of money doing it, but again, if your personality doesn't want you to make calls because it makes you sick to your stomach, that doesn't have to be a part of your business plan.
Sure.
But you do need to be doing something, and that's what we're trying to do, is give you ideas on niches,
Hmm.
ideas on dialers, marketing, all those types of things to try to help you define what's going to work for you to make you do it. Because if you're doing nothing, then that's probably what you're seeing in your bank account.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to make sure that we help you do that. And again, we do recommend KV Core because it is a very robust system. With
Hmm.
EXP, we get it for $85 a month, which is included in our tech fee with EXP. It's a real estate platform, which if you watch our other videos, we talk to you about that. But it would cost you $6,000 a year to have KV Core without getting it through a brokerage, okay, or a real estate platform. So anyway, if you have questions, please reach out to Alex. He would be more than happy to do a Zoom one-on-one with you. And you can get that set up with him. His information is going to be in the description. Please go to our Facebook page and like our social marketing RE pros, as well as hit the subscribe button on our YouTube video. So we look forward to talking to you guys again real soon. Again, let us know what topics and what things you're struggling with, and we are here to help you. You guys have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon.